Okay, my name is Anne Towner. I'm the chair of Refugee and Migrant Network Sutton.
Yes.
Refugee Network Sutton started in 1991. At the time, there were quite a lot of people newly arrived in Sutton who needed basic support. They were moving into accommodation and they didn't have furniture and they didn't have food. So it was set up by a few people who went rushing around giving welcome parcels and scrounging things to give to people, and became gradually more organised and more professional. It's different now. We don't get so many newly arrived refugees as asylum seekers. We get a lot of people coming to join relatives who are already here and families. And we do get some people who are economic migrants. What we currently do is we advise about immigration and about local authority benefits and how to make the most of living in this society, how to get good health care, how to get education, what are the possibilities. It's more about helping people to make the best of their lives here than about rescuing them from dire emergencies. Although having said that, there are a few people who are still destitute and that we need to help. But most of our clients want advice and they want English lessons. They're very passionate about their English lessons, which are free and which we provide a creche for, which the local authority provision no longer does. So we feel we have a real service to offer to, for instance, mothers newly arrived, no language, small children. They want to support their children in school, and very often they can't get to the classes at school. So we provide classes.
My name is Benam. I'm from Iraq. My home city is Mosul. The new name, the last name is Nineveh. It's an ancient name and very old name. It's a capital of Assyrian Empire. I live in it all my life. I used to be a headmaster in Catholic primary school in my home city, and I am a calligrapher. It's my hobby. I study it in Mosul University. I worked here in this group as a volunteer about 4 years ago. I met a friend. I do new friends. I work here as a volunteer. I help them because I need to help people. I need to do something to people who need.
Today is our annual general meeting. Before the meeting, we're running our English classes, but in a somewhat different format, doing fun activities. Some are making Christmas cards, some are playing games, and hopefully the ones with young children are going to do an activity with the children. At 11:15 we'll gather everybody together and we'll have our annual general meeting. We try to make this short and sweet and understandable by our clients because we like them to be there. It's also very important for our funders to be able to come and for us to showcase what we're doing.
My name is Councillor Ruth Dombey. I'm Deputy Leader of the Council and I'm also the lead member for Equality and Diversity in the voluntary sector. And I do think it's a recognition of how important we think the voluntary sector is, that it's actually the Deputy Leader who's leading on this. I first met the Refugee Network, as it was then, 3 years ago when they invited me along to their AGM, and I realised that we had a real jewel amongst us, a very small group with a small dedicated team, just one part-time paid worker who are providing a fantastic service to the community and actually helping the council to do things that we weren't able to do on our own. So I got more involved in what they were doing, and when we started to think about how we would be commissioning the voluntary sector differently in order to give them more security, a base, but also to have a recognition that we're all working for a common aim and defining what those common goals are, I suggested that this group should be included, which was unusual because if you think about our other strategic partners, we're talking about Age Concern, our CBS, Citizens Advice Bureau, quite large organisations with lots of paid staff, and obviously they'd like more money, but much larger funding streams. And to include a small group like this was quite unusual. But when we looked in more detail about what they're doing and the service that they're providing, we understood that actually it is in our best interest to support them, because they have an outreach into the community that we wouldn't be able to have on our own. They're providing a service that we wouldn't be able to do nearly as well as they're doing it, and they're also providing us with information about the people living in this borough. They know far quicker than us, far better than us, who's coming into the borough, where they're living, what they're doing, what their operations are, and so they can provide us with information that we need in order to do our job properly.
We got involved with the BASIS project because we saw some publicity about getting the loan of a trustee from KPMG, and we are very short of trustees. We need more people. And from that we found out about the BASIS project, and we applied to join. We are due for a revamp, really, of what we do. Our last business plan was drawn up in 2007, and it's amazing how quickly these things date. So we had Elahi along to one of our meetings, and we have sketched out a few areas that we're interested in developing, and she has helped us to develop an action plan for those. So that will include, hopefully, getting a new trustee, but it's not the only thing. We need to tidy up our membership. We need to broaden our funding basis, and we need to consider becoming company limited by guarantee. That would protect future trustees from exposure to any kind of financial loss, so that's important. The best thing is when things work, when things go well. When you get a strategic partnership, or you have an event and it goes well, and then you all throw your hat in the air. The other good thing is when people come back and report a success. We had some people came back the other day to report that their grown-up son had just been allowed to join them, and there was great rejoicing. Those things are good. That's when you think it's really all worthwhile. We won't talk about the other time.